Hello everybody, welcome. Today we're starting up Torment, Tides of Numenera. I'm very excited to be playing this, not just because of the fact that I have it was an absolute shit day last couple hours. So, it'd be nice to finally get the chance to play this. For those of you who don't know, most likely if you're watching this, you would, but, you know, let's just cover all our bases. The developers of this game, InXile, hold on a second. Things are acting funny on the stream. I want to make sure that I'm actually live when I say all this. Many of them were from teams who were doing games like the original Planescape Torment, stuff like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, RPGs that I grew up playing. And this even looks like some of them. There's obviously been some improvements to it. Numenera is a RPG world designed by Monty Cook, published by Monty Cook Games, which unfortunately I don't have enough of. I have not even. I need to get a hold of the book for that. So all I've got is one of the free RPG Day adventures. The basic concept is this is a billion years in the future, and this is the ninth civilization to live on Earth. Essentially, the idea is each civilization rose, then fell, and rose, then fell. And so you're dealing with the world as you know it, and all the remnants of their technology, which of course to you is, you know, not technology, but magic, which, you know, makes total sense. I will say one thing real quick, kind of slightly off subject. I find it kind of sad that Twitch doesn't have a box art cover for Torment. That just shows you how little... I don't know if it's just because how little people streamed it or what. But I'm super excited to actually get the chance to play this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch more explanation that's going to come through. So I've played absolutely none of this. I'm going in completely blind other than what, you know, like the trailers and everything for it have shown. So let's start. The mechanics for Numenera seemed really interesting. I did read some of the Traveler's Guide that the game came with, which is mostly just basically what would have been the in-game guide before. Ooh, this is the first interesting question. What will I be? Male or female? You know, it doesn't really make much difference, but because for the most part, it's mostly just cosmetic. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to flip for it. Heads will be female, tails will be male. And we're female. Your mind wakes in darkness. Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. Oh, whoops.
Distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you.
Took me a second, I realized there was actual voiceover. I had to turn my TV up a little bit.
Your first emotion is an involuntary and formless panic. You feel you have forgotten something important. As if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them. You force your eyes open.
Sorry about the silence there. I wanted to adjust things. I need to go in and I need to adjust the audio volume on the game because you guys aren't hearing the voiceover as that much. Go look around.
Wait,
Oh, whoops. I selected the right
wearing a
one.
form-fitting suit of some dark material. You recall that you were wearing something much more elaborate a short time ago. You have smooth, light brown skin, 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes on each foot. Good muscles, strong but not bulky, and slim hips. Your palms are soft, as if they have not done much labor, but scars and burns on the hands and wrists suggest that you haven't always been careful. Why can't you remember this?
And I can't pause right now to be able to adjust it, so we're going to have to bide our time until
warning,
afterward.
The cocoon that surrounds you shreds and tears away. You are falling. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in on itself. The world is many kilometers below you.
Let's see. Go flatten out to catch the wind.
Spread your arms and legs, and they respond sluggishly. You stop tumbling head over heels. Though you are still spinning laterally, that motion has calmed as well, and you have space to assess your situation, and perhaps to understand the predicament and the body in which you find yourself. Below you, you see a large landmass. A massive ocean dominates the rest of the visible globe, dotted here and there with island chains. Small moons, unusual structures, and strange machines rush past you in glittering profusion as you plummet toward the ground.
Let's see. Let's study the world.
This appears to be a huge megacontinent, the only land of any size on this side of the world at least. Great inland seas and lakes dot the land, and curiously, regular mountain ranges march up and down and across. You are falling toward what looks to be a great bay, a sprawling city perched on its shore just to the north. Further to the north and east, you see a broad plain scattered with curious structures, visible even from this height. The northeastern portion of this land looks to be a desert, a strange blue dot like an eye in its exact center. It seems to hold a city in its watery grasp. To its west is a ring of huge mountains, surmounted by enormous carved peaks spewing magma into a central catch basin. What concerns you most right now is the bay below you. It's coming at you quickly.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? That's a good question. Try and slow descent even
You've reached
more.
a velocity that could, without irony, best be named terminal. You spread your arms and legs and try to catch a draft, and it looks like you'll hit the bay that's rushing toward you, unless you hit the building in its littered waters. A strange web of colors surrounds you, thrown by a figure standing on the balcony of the structure. But it is effective only at slowing your fall.
Well, if it slows it
You
enough.
strike the building hard enough to crack its crystalline structure,
Ooh.
and you hear one of the engines that supports it protest and howl, and the agony of the crash overcomes you. And then, darkness.
Well, that's certainly a way to be introduced to the world. Okay, let's try adjust this. Now, it adjusted some of the settings more. We're going to turn the voiceover way up. So I didn't mess with the settings much. I turned a couple things down, but I put the voiceover up higher. So I might have to play with this a bit.
All right.
Let's see. Jumbled thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow, as if it hungers for that light and needs to be filled. Yet the bowl remains dry. Another drop falls from the ceiling and splashes across the pylons, wasted. Let's examine it. You trace your finger over the slippery, overlapping scales that spiral up from the bottom of the bowl. The sharp-toothed rim plucks at your skin. It's going to be tricky to move this without slicing your fingers on the edge. You might have to put some effort into it. Reflected light streaks across the surface of the bowl as another droplet falls from the ceiling. Well, let's carefully move the bowl beneath the liquid. You've encountered your first task. You have 3 stat pools: might, speed, and intellect. You can spend to increase your chance of success. This is called effort. To more easily move the bowl in front of you, use the left stick to spend might for a higher level of effort. Don't worry if you fail this task. In Torment, failure often results in interesting outcomes. So it's like, yeah. So at the lowest level, you can see I have, with the most minimum effort, I have a 60% chance of success. Moving it up 1 by spending a point brings it to 80. Curious on the details. Ooh, and it gives you all the stats. I get modifiers since I looked at it. You know what? Let's go 100%. I like the fact that you can get a detailed look. You carefully take hold of the bowl, avoiding the teeth on the serrated rim. With a deep breath, you move it over the glowing pool of fallen light. It didn't look like I actually moved it. It looks like it moved itself. But hey. Drop by drop, the bowl fills, ripples spreading over the blurred outline of your reflection. A pale blue luminescence stretches into the corners of the room. A clear radiance spills from the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you've begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Hello, are you... Okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to start talking. So, I didn't say anything. Oh, I can zoom in. Nice. Examine, interact. But yes, I love the fact that it's got this isometric kind of God's eye view.
All right.
Very much like all those old RPGs. And underneath my character portrait, you can see like my... I only have 3 might left because I used 2 of it on that. So that's where you got to figure out where you expend your effort. As soon as you touch the orb, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment's respite from this waterlogged hell. A bubble of stale air, your resting point. You've breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves. But this body's an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as you well know, but now he seems distracted. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires, and antennas. He believes it can get the 2 of you through the corroded door, but he's merely staring at it. Perhaps he's lost faith in his invention, but that's hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. Oh, this is an interesting dilemma. To deceive him, threaten him, or take matters in my own hands. I think we'll go with this. This is taking too long. Cast a spell, an esotery, to fix the device yourself. You mumble a few words, drawing power from the air around you until a solution appears in your mind. You snatch the device from his hands, rewire it, and shove it back at him. Oh, he says, examining your work. Sorry, I was trying to improve the thing. He waves the device at the door, and the stale air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond, a passage that links the water-bordered ceilings and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, your hands closing around a strange yet familiar artifact. You need it to complete something. It hovers above a pedestal, rotating in the dark water. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hand crosses the vertical plane of the pedestal, and an iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water. The guards won't be far behind. Let's see. I think we're going to use a device to stop them. One of the ciphers in your belt. You run urgent fingers over the devices fastened to your waist, a fog rising in your mind. A few can be used against the guards, but will also turn your skin into synth steel, or the surrounding water to boiling wax. Hardly ideal. Finally, you find a small silver sphere. Setting the sphere in place, you kick desperately for the safety of a nearby alcove. The sphere whirls and unfolds into a spiraling vortex. The sphere at its center speaks a few polite words in an ancient language, then begins draining the surrounding water into itself with alarming speed. The approaching guards shout, then scream as they, too, are sucked into the whirlpool and ripped to pieces. You allow yourself a fleeting smile, but are all too aware that more alarms are going off in the distance. The memory begins to fade, as if you're being drawn backward through a tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else. A gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. Well now. Light around the door frame dims and flares like a roaring fire in a high wind. No sign or symbol tells you what might be behind this enormous door. Dull chill radiates from its bronze segmented surface, and the thick metal wheel seems to be frozen in place. Well, let's interact with the orb. You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth far below. Strange machines have been built into the cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metal disc gleams from the center of the plateau. Your self-aware humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for sanctuary, and you were desperately, this seems like the right place. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we found? Go with option 2. Use your charm to persuade her that the merits of the site and remind her of the time constraints. A cloud passes over the sun as you engage her in spirited, friendly debate, pointing out the footprint of a prior world civilization whose power remains untapped. After a few minutes, she laughs, raising her hand in mock surrender. Stop! Your servitors are down there. You've already chosen this as a site, haven't you? She waits for your affirmation and says, All right, I'm convinced. The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend into the plateau to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its tasks, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on its shoulder to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face with inhuman speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Look for a deeper solution, perhaps an effect of the metallic disc itself. A mist falls into the plateau as you wrap a fiber shielding mesh around the construct's skull. The mesh powers up, protecting the construct's minds from any transdimensional emissions that might be in the area. Taking a deep breath, you repeat your command. Acknowledged. It obediently trundles to the side of your new shelter. The image freezes, then fades. You feel the memory filling the gap in your mind, block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head. Reclaiming your memory hurts. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift, one by one, on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you're doing, and is hunting you.
Fine.
It better be. A vision of a city springs up around you. Your city, in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care not for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door of the tower, two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor, and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. Fight defensively and figure out who presents the greater threat. Probably the smaller one. The memory seems crystal clear. The giant is menacing, it's true, but the invisible blade of its companion is more worrisome still. The energy field that flickers and wavers around it suggests that she can curve the matter at a molecular level, tearing pieces of her target into nothingness. If you're to save yourself, your best bet is to tackle her first. She's stuck behind the giant, waiting her turn to attack you, unable to bring her weapon to bear until he's out of the way. But it's clear that she expects him to handle you, and her eyes rove behind you, her focus on your ward. She's certainly not expecting you to dive between the giant's legs and come up inside her guard. She can't bring her blade to bear in time, and you drive your dagger up under her chin. You catch her before her deadly blade drops onto you and spin her around. The weapon slashes into the giant, and he topples, bisected. Oh, sorry. The immediate threat ended, you focused on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall. You hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. Crack the door open to sneak past them. You press yourself against the gleaming door, easing it open, and your breath catches in your throat as it squeaks quietly, the sound like a bell in your memory. You pause, but the soldiers in the hall continue to talk. You push again, squeeze yourself through the narrow opening, and creep down the blood-stained hall. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you, like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. A tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as the massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room.
Let's go.
It's definitely intriguing. I'm curious to see where all this goes. Oh man. I can't do anything just yet. So I realized just how dark. Most everything else I play, the screen is kind of what you guys see is a little bit more washed out, and this kind of is. But it's super dark for you guys because you can't, from this angle, you guys can't even see the floor on here. I have to try and play with that a little bit. The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with a dizzying number of interlocked symbols. Daggers, masks, paintbrushes, amulets, and more. But that's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal tattoo on their head. In their eyes, their in their eyes, their actions. You see the memories you discovered within the orbs, and the choices you made, shining like distant stars. Your hand twitches at your side. And though some of the bright doppelgangers ignore you, an even smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. A rumble shakes the room, and a slow vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling towards the ceiling. Let's see. I think we're going to go with the ones already selected. Point at the doppelganger with the clever eyes. The doppelganger makes its way over to you. It's about to speak when a thuggish figure charges out of the crowd and shakes his knife in the doppelganger's face. Speaking in your voice, the doppelganger raises a calming hand, appealing to the thug's better nature with a combination of disarming wit and outright lies. Scowling, the thug lowers his knife and apologizes to the doppelganger for the trouble. Doppelganger turns to you, waiting for your decision. This is the type of character I would have played anyway, so yes, this is who I am. This is an interesting way of basically doing what character generation in the setting would have done if this had been a tabletop game. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Your chosen identity steps forward. Its appearance changes as it steps out of the rippling glass. Its face exudes intelligence and confidence. Shadows of several devices shimmer all around it. Technology of several kinds, from a myriad of past ages. You get the feeling you, would be comfortable with all of it. The word nano sounds in your mind. Gain descriptor clever. So apparently I'm going to be playing basically what would be this series' version of a wizard. Your doppelganger continues walking, stepping into you, filling you, making you whole. Your decision rings out in the cavernous room, awakening and unlocking vast mechanisms behind the walls. Suddenly, a grotesque noise rings through your shared world, like a bell if bells could rot. Something is coming. Restored 2 might pool. The mirror fades, leaving a dark, open doorway. You take a deep breath and step through. Character creation. Your choices in the memories in the mirror have begun to build your character, but now you have the opportunity to decide on a number of details. First, you can decide to change your type. Type defines the abilities and skills you'll be able to acquire as you advance. There is a glaive, which is basically a warrior. Jack, which is short for Jack of all trades, which you probably guessed, but is a little bit more kind of essentially like a thief. And Nano, which is basically a wizard, which I always like playing wizards. So, Nanos are sometimes called mages, wizards, sorcerers, or witches by the people of the Ninth World. Whatever they're called, Nanos master the mysteries of the past to the degree that they seem to perform miracles using esoteries, spell-like invocations that combine gestures, command words, and physical disciplines. They tap into nanospirits, numinous particles that suffuse the landscape to alter reality or learn things that they could not otherwise know. Which I think we're going to stick with the nano. Let's see. +1 training concentration level, +1 cipher limit. Let's see. Onslaught, an esoteric attack. Choose a damage type. Deal 5 damage to that type and confer a minor additional effect based on the choice. +1 damage per effect. Let's see. +2 intellect pool. 2 points distributed in any pool. +5 health at each tier after first. Gains 2 abilities at each tier. Can pick 1 lore skill at tier 1. Let's see. I think we're going to go with this. Okay. Now I need to move on. That's what it is. I wasn't looking down. Stat pools are the resources you use to apply effect or activate abilities. You can distribute points as you see fit. Glaives tend to favor might and or speed, while nanos favor intellect. Jacks usually benefit from a balanced set of points. It's already got 9 in there. want the higher intellect, but I like having a little bit more at my disposal, so we'll go with that. Abilities unlocked by your type can be active actions, such as attacks or spell-like esoteries, or unique passive effects. The surface thoughts of most people or creatures speak, appear in conversations. Move all negative fettles, heal 6 points. Teleport one ally to a point within range. Gain protected. Armor bonus. +2 tier. Active for 3 rounds. Gain 1 training level and cipher use skill allows you to carry additional ciphers. Okay. I couldn't see it. I think we're going to take Innervate. Being able to heal will probably use 5 of 5 uses per day. Okay. Most skills increase your chance of success on specific kinds of actions and tasks, but some give other passive bonuses. Each skill starts at the novice level with 2 empty spheres. It can be increased to trained and specialized, 1 and 2 respectively, granting greater bonuses at each level. Descriptors often leave some skills at the inability level, meaning they inflict penalties. When upgraded, these return to novice level. So yeah, these would be unusable. So I have to choose a exploration skill. Lore machinery. Difficulty ability confers. Or nature. Mystical. Let's go with lore machinery. It's no longer inactive, so there's that. Let's move on. Use a weapon skill only. Glaives receive training in weapon skills. Descriptor. This is where things get interesting. Although you chose your descriptor from among many of the doppelgangers in the mirror, you now have a chance to view the specific bonuses and penalties it grants. You can also examine the effects of other descriptors and choose a new one if you wish. So, clever. You're quick-witted and good judge of others. You can fool people, but are rarely fooled yourself. You're not great at retaining trivial knowledge, however. +2 intellect pool, +1 training level and deception, +15% willpower, -1 training level in lore mystical, -1 training level in lore machinery, which is why it was inactive. Graceful, intelligent. What's intelligent? I lose deception. I think I'm gonna stick with clever. I was happy with clever. It's your last chance to change Last Castoff's character type or descriptor. We're gonna go with this. Still I can't tell if it's my screen or if it's the stream, because still seems a little washed out to me, but you know, everything's visible, so I'm not sure if turning up the brightness in game would help me. Codex entry unlocked, the labyrinth. The Spectre. Everything about this spectral figure seems dreamlike. He is a hazy silhouette who seems to be made of blue glass smoke. He wears stylish, well-cut clothes. Why I keep wanting to put an L there, I have no freaking clue. His handsome bearded face seems hauntingly familiar, though you've never seen him before. He breathes a sigh of relief when he sees you. We weren't sure that would work. We pooled our strength and channeled it through me to reach you, to wake you up. He glances at the other figures here and frowns unhappily. It took more out of them than we thought. The other reflections, they're more like shadows now. Look, I'll bet you've got a lot of questions. This whole place is basically your mind. Your body's still out there in the real world, healing from that fall. You need to get out there and finish the process. He shrugs. It shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, this seems like the question I would ask. Before I met you, it felt like something was hunting me. Do you know what it was? He closes his eyes. That's a memory I don't want to recall. Large, black, furious. It's our death. It's the sorrow. He closes his eyes. I guess again. I hope it's lost interest in you. If it finds us, we're done for. Who are those other people? You call them reflections. That's what they are. As I said, it's your mind. You'll find reflections of people you knew, people you met in the real world, and with whom you shared some kind of psychic connection. I don't know how or why, it just happens. This place is my mind. Why don't I remember any of this? Any of you? It's your mind. A construct built to, I don't know, share thoughts, store your true self. Wait, you know how people say. In the first place, this is definitely the first place of your memory. Well, it's the first place for me anyway. You'd probably know better since it's yours. If you don't remember now, maybe it'll come to you later. Who are you? He pauses and looks down at himself, considering a long time before answering. I'm you. I'm a part of your mind. A splinter. I was waiting here for you. We called you with the memories of the others who are here. I don't know what happened next. You said I had to finish the process. What do you mean by that? After you wake up from this dream state and attune to the tides, you'll need to find something called a resonance chamber. Your body should have landed somewhere near it. Just climb inside that and everything will be fine. What do you mean attuned to the tides? Tides are like a force, like gravity or magnetism or something, except they respond to people's actions and perceptions. Your body, that is, your body in the real world, needs the tides to survive. It's not something you need to worry about. Your body will attune as it wakes up. And I'm not sure how to best explain it. The tides are... There's 5 colors, essentially, each tied to essentially an idea, a mood, and those tides will affect how the world perceives you, how you perceive others, so on and so forth. What's a resonance chamber? I remember pieces about it, but not the whole. It's a crystal sarcophagus. I remember it having 5 mechanical arms around it and a metal ring set in the floor. I think we were aiming for it when we fell. When you open your eyes in the real world, it should be nearby. How do you know all this? All that you're telling me? He throws up his hands in frustration. I'm just a part of you. I look at you and I know. This place was made for you. For us. And I remember pieces and knowledge that comes to me when you ask your questions. But that's all. So how do I get back to the real world? There's a portal down there. It'll take you back to your body. Just step through it and the whole tides thing should take care of itself. He crosses his arms. When you wake up, find the resonance chamber and activate it. Then we can... What in the hell's is that? Oh. What in the hell's is that is definitely a apropos. Gods, it's the sorrow. the Spectre. The sorrow is anchored to those reflections. It's devouring their power. We have to get rid of them. Destroy its anchors or else the sorrow will erase us forever. Combat. Current objective, kill the reflections anchoring the sorrow to your mind. Crisis begins when you enter into a dangerous situation. Crises are turn-based encounters where you can fight, sneak, manipulate the environment, or talk your way out of trouble. Each turn you can take one essentially it's attack action to attack or activate an ability. You can also make one move. Their reflection near you. Kill it. You'll loosen the sorrow's anchor. Use left stick to move the reticle at the center of the screen, then A to move to a position or attack. Try selecting the highlighted character now. Effort can be applied to attacks to increase your chance of a hit. As with other tasks, each level of effort increases your chance by 20% at the cost of 1 point from the stat pool. Unarmed attacks use speed, but other weapons and abilities may use might or intellect instead. 85% should cover us. Ooh, sorrow fragments. What in the... Escaping. It's going to hide inside your mind. Now run. Get to the next one. You can sacrifice your attack action for the turn to double move instead of attacking. The movement preview line turns purple when over a position that requires a double move.
Go.
Well, let's try. You apply effort to an attack, it also increases the damage you deal. Different weapons and abilities gain different amounts of bonus damage from effort. I only used 5. I've still got 5. I think we're better off increasing our odds right now rather than leaving it. What's it doing now? It's infecting it somehow. Fetals are temporary conditions or status effects that can improve or reduce a character's stats. The sorrow has just placed a fetal on the remaining reflection. You can't remove this fetal, but you may find a way to overcome it. Oh, 1 second. I want to see something. Tip delay. There's nothing for image, so I can't change or adjust things that you guys see here. Unfortunately, this would be something where if I had the PC setup, it'd be a little bit better, but unfortunately, we'll have to deal for the moment. That didn't do much. The armor stat reduces physical damage. The Fetal of the Sorrow placed on this character has boosted its armor by 10, meaning it will absorb 10 points of damage from each attack. The Reflection's armor is now too high for you to overcome with your unarmed attack. Skist. Reflection is protected somehow. You need to find a way to hit it even harder. Grab that piece of mirror glass. It might have enough residual energy to kill the reflection. Pick up loot, use left stick to move the reticle over the object, and then press A. Press Y to take all or select the individual item you want and press A. 1 second, I want to see something.
Of course.
Yeah, in these dark areas, it's really dark. To activate an item, press right trigger to bring it up. Bring up the item's radial menu. Press A to select it, highlight your target with the reticle, and press A again. Okay. Use item. Nice. Gain 40 XP, healed 3. Hopefully we get in a brighter area and it'll be a little easier to see. You pried it loose. The thing is a cancer, an infection. It's unstoppable, but you stopped it. He holds his head in his hands. I can't believe it found us. In here. He looks at you, terror in his eyes. That thing, the sorrow, it's been hunting you. It's what killed you in the first place. It'll keep hunting you until you activate the resonance chamber. I didn't remember until I saw it. But that's why the chamber is so important. You have to get back and activate the chamber before it's too late. The portal to your body is that shimmering dome there. Go. Now. Let's make a save real quick.
Ready.
Well, it loads pretty quick. It's kind of nice.
Where did she fall from? Her body's smashed to talk. It's a wonder she's still breathing.
All I saw was the corona, not her origin point. But look, she's healing already. Spontaneous regeneration.
I don't know if that was the thought in there or what. Okay, there's nothing else. Oh, the Mind Forged plating just kicked in. Oh, an achievement just happened. Escape the sorrow for now. Okay, so I'm starting to figure out when it's gonna talk, when it's not. So, Allegern. Ugh, what was that? What'd you do, Callistege? His tone became accusatory, suspicious. You open your eyes. Oh, I can dismiss that. First thing you notice is the man's kaleidoscope of tattoos, writhing around his forearms. He wears a long, dark coat, belted at the waist, supplies filling the pockets. His boots are worn and stained with years of travel. Callistege. I'm going to fuck up names, I'm sure. You blame me? She emitted an internal physiological reaction in response to the fall, probably related to that fantastic healing process. Obviously, Allegern. Her voice rolls and hisses, and you have to rub your eyes to be sure you're not seeing double. Faint echoes of her actions trail from her, each nearly mimicking her, though some act and react stimuli that you can't perceive. Her vivid hair and outrageous clothing can remain constant throughout these shadows. Gained item, Mind Forged plating. Oh yes, it's obvious, Callistege. His voice is grim and clipped. Then he sees you looking at him. You're no ordinary mortal. We know that much. Start talking. His face is hard and set. Scan thoughts. She's the changing god. Callistege is deliberately blinding herself. But why? I'm no ordinary mortal? What do you mean? You really don't know. He cocks his head to the side. Starting to think you're not her. Callistege. Starting to think, Allegern? Tell me, is it a novel experience? Scan thoughts. Allegern's being more paranoid than usual. How long must I put up with him? Allegern. It's her face. Oh god, I can't talk. I've never seen any other people rebuild themselves like that. Only the changing god could have healed so quick. He sighs and rubs his face, trying to regain his composure. Maybe you could help me for a change. You know what this means to me. Callistege. You're familiar with the word changing, Allegern? It implies inconstancy. Thus, the changing god may well have changed. Several versions of her shrug, and she addresses you. You'll have to forgive him. He believes you're someone he once knew, even though it's painfully obvious to anyone that you're newly born. Callistege. Her most solid self curtsies while others bow or spit. I and my sisters am Callistege. This is Allegern. We are explorers, knowledge seekers. That's how we came to be in this room. If I'm not mistaken, you are what we call a Castoff. The changing god created you, body and mind. Your sire used your body for a time, then abandoned it for reasons of his own. When his mind departed for a new experience, you were born in his cast-off shell. Who's the changing god? Ha! That's something coming from you. She gives a sidelong glance. The changing god is your sire, dear. He discovered a path to immortality long ago, a means to transfer his self to a new body of his own creation. I don't think he knew, however, that when he abandoned one body, another mind was birthed to fill the void. Oh, he knew all right. He eyes you up and down coldly. The only thing the changing god cares about is himself. He doesn't give a single thought for those he leaves behind. Scan thoughts. He sees this as experiments, not humans. If you know the changing god through my body, why do you keep referring to my sire as he? We know your creator through legend and research. He's taken the form of men, women, visitants, and other things. His form is fluid, as his name suggests, but the stories about the changing god always refer to him. It's easier, Allegern shrugs. You are a woman. The changing god is himself. Are there other cast-offs? Dozens, hundreds, who can say? Your sire's been doing this for several centuries. Though if all of them were born the way you claim to have been, it's a wonder any of them survive. Probably should have asked this question earlier. Where are we? What is this place? A sanctum of your sire's. The common belief is that he had several such places throughout the Ninth World, possibly other worlds as well. We were only just able to gain entry to this one because of your grand entrance. So you say I was born when the changing god left, but why am I not dead? I used a cipher to slow your fall further, but the damage still would have killed an ordinary person. But think about it. If you're the kind of person who can make a body into anything you want, what do? If you've constructed bodies for centuries, you want to make each one better than the last. You want to live forever. You're not going to let your life end by accident. No, you'll make strong bodies. Fast, powerful, maybe throw in regeneration while you're at it. Changing God has always been vain. He rarely okay, whoops. I have confused people. Sorry. He rarely stays in a shell that doesn't suit his self-image. She looks you up and down, her smile suddenly unnerving. Perhaps the changing God fled because he didn't want to wear those scars of yours. The changing God abandoned my body. Where is he now? If he abandoned your body, then his consciousness fled to another. He eyes you keenly. Oh, do stop. The look she gives Algernon is equally piercing, amplified by the withering glares of her sisters. If there's one thing we know about the changing God, dear, it's that he always has a contingency. This child was born here. The object of your obsession will have been reborn somewhere else. How can you be sure this body's a cast-off? You mean aside from your miraculous reformation? For one thing, there's your tattoo. All cast-offs have one, though its purpose is beyond me. And then, of course, there's your delicious naivete. She could be faking it. You don't live hundreds of years without learning to lie convincingly. She sighs with exasperation, then says to you, what do you think? Are you a newborn child, or are you a powerful immortal whom death has robbed of his memories? Scan thoughts. This should be interesting. Interesting choices. I think I'm just go with I honestly don't know. Aldrin. He forces a smile into his face and pats you awkwardly. His brow remaining furrowed, though. You don't know. Perhaps we can talk about what you do know. She laughs scornfully. She clearly knows enough to evade your clumsy accusations, Aldrin. You have nothing to go on but bitterness and bias. He looks away, and his composure slips a little. Gods, you're so rancid sometimes, Calistege. What was that blast of energy when I woke? As I was telling my colleague, it was obviously a physiological reaction of some kind. I've never witnessed the birth of a Castoff, but yes, it could very well have been caused by your nascent consciousness. Don't worry, I don't believe it caused any real harm. Not to me, at least. Really? You've been more abrasive than ever since we came in here. He shoots her a sidelong look. She just can't empathize with other people unless she's experimenting on them. Do you know anything about the tides? I've heard the term before, a subject your sire studied in great depth. I'm afraid it isn't my field of inquiry. Are you sure that surges didn't hurt you? If it did, it was damage in our minds. Though how you'd check if it carked her, I couldn't say. Tough to find normalcy there. At least we know it didn't hurt Aldrin. That skull's as thick as organic stone. I want to ask about something else. Of course, child. You must be so disoriented. Before I woke, I was in some kind of dreamlike labyrinth with a glowing specter. How hard you hit the ground, I'm surprised that's all you saw. Why do you seem to hate the changing god so much? The ghost of a smile touches his mouth, as if he's privy to a joke, but it doesn't reach his hard eyes. He's lived longer than anyone in the Ninth World. Hasn't been much of a philanthropist in all that time. He's helped some people, sure, but it's always been to his own self-interest. He's gotten away with a load of skist over the years. If falling from the sky didn't kill me, is there anything that can? An excellent question. Having seen your regenerative abilities in action, I suspect they are primarily physical, or regrowth. If that's the case, you'd be unable to survive most varieties of psychic or molecular decomposition, disintegration, conflagration, and so forth. Degenerative diseases could pose a problem. There are several entities capable of psychic destruction. As she speaks, a vision flashes into your mind. It's not yours exactly. Somehow, you know this is a memory of the changing gods. You're in a dark room, lit by a myriad of blinking lights and holograms from the many machines surrounding you. What about a body that can withstand the sorrow's attacks? Says a voice. It's usually coming from one of the machines. No, you reply. The thing has no respect for barriers of any kind. Physical, temporal, psychic. This is the only way. With a series of gestures, you bring up an image of a crystalline pod. If the resonance chamber works, it will give us the power to stop the Sorrow's hunt once and for all. We just need to find the right focal point. A catalyst. The memory fades. Calistege is still talking. You realize that the device you saw in the memory is identical to the one behind you now. It looks just like the Spectre had described it. A transparent sarcophagus inside a crystalline dome, with mechanical arms arrayed around it and on a metal ring. Fortunately, the dome is shattered, and the sarcophagus is cracked, and one of the arms is in pieces on the floor. Whatever its function, it clearly needs repair. Or flesh-eating viruses. One presumes disfigurement by the iron wind would likewise be devastating enough to... I think she gets the point, Calistege. Well, we'll just start with one and work our way through. I saw a vision of myself in another time and place just now. You didn't see it too, did you? I saw you stare into space while Calistege graphically described all the ways you could die, but that's about it. He snorts. I only know it's because I did the same thing. Do either of you know anything about the sorrow? I've had my share of sorrows, but never the sorrow. What's that? A disease? Her mouth compresses in a tight line. I know nothing about it. Do either of you know how to fix that crystal chamber there? Aladrin chuckles. Then, firm and certain, he says, not likely, though it might not be impossible. You need to find people with appropriate knowledge. I'm sure the cult of the changing god will hold the answer. Her distaste is evident in the expression of her echoes, although the face of the one in the lead remains carefully impassive. You'd turn to the insane to help a newborn? Where's your judgment, Aladrin? I would take her to the Order of Truth. The Order of Truth? Are you mad? They'd sooner take us apart. What's the Order of Truth? Knowledge seekers. The learned who try to wrest secrets of the hearts from the prior worlds. They gather in the city to exchange their findings and help humanity to build a brighter future. She smiles brightly. Our friend Aladrin here was once one of them. Frauds, quacksalvers, and charlatans. They don't have all the answers, and I don't trust them with the changing god's secrets. You're just angry that they couldn't help you with yours. Her echoes tinkle laughter. But I'm being too cruel, dear Aladrin. Let's take our new friend to the Order. What's the cult of the changing god? Despite what she says, they're not insane. They're eccentrics. She laughs, but he soldiers on. They're worshippers of, well, of you or your sire, the changing god. They devote their lives to understanding your kind. Interesting questions. Who should I go with? If I still got it here. The Cult of the Changing God or the Order of Truth. I think both are interesting options. Both have their things. I think on this one, I think we're just going to leave it to the coin flip again. Because I don't know which one's better, and I want to keep things interesting. So heads, the Cult of the Changing God. Tails, the Order of Truth. It's heads again. Going to the Cult of the Changing God. A wise choice. Your worshippers aren't likely to cut you apart, and they're sometimes fools, but they collect knowledge and data. They'll tell you more than you care to know about yourself, whoever you are. They could give you good counsel. She sniffs and gives Aladrin an acid glare. Good counsel? The best counsel is to come with me. I'll accompany the two of you. When you change your mind, you'll need an introduction to the Order of Truth. Fine, we'll both go. But don't be surprised when Calistash leaves you broken in a ditch with your purse empty, while she laughs it off as a good experiment. Suspicious as always, Aladrin. Child, the world is an exciting place, but it's full of dangers. Rest assured, one of us will get you to safety where you need to be. I'll be right behind you. Sunny smile crosses her face. Scan thoughts. I shudder to think what Aladrin might do to this child. Why do you want to go with me? What's in it for you? I won't deny that you're an exciting find, but it's not about that. I just want to see you safely out of the reef. Scan thoughts. Who knows what secrets this child could help me find, if I can help her live long enough. Kid, you're not safe here, not just because you're new. Treasure hunters trawl the reef, scavengers who would sell you for parts if they knew where you came from, what you were. Scan thoughts. If she's not the changing god, she needs my help. And if she is... Alright, let's go. You've gained your first companions. They will follow the Last Castoff and can be controlled during a crisis. You can speak to them about their pasts and take advantage of their unique abilities and skills. Companions have their own motivations and personalities, and depending upon the choices you make, they may not follow you forever. You'll find more companions who will join you as you travel through the Ninth World. Take this opportunity to explore your surroundings. You may find items, equipment, and more to assist you. When you're ready, you can leave the broken dome using the stairs to the northeast.
Yes.
Mechanical arm lies on the floor, presumably broken during your fall. Sparks pour from the arm-shattered housing, filling the air with a greasy stench. Okay. Those won't help me see something real quick. Inability. Okay. Try to double check things. The inventory lets you view, equip, manage items and equipment you find. It has a number of sections. First is equipment, which contains any items equipped to the current character. I am fucking this up royally. Equipment includes melee and ranged weapons, shields, armor, ornaments such as rings and amulets, and bonded items. Your backpack contains the items being carried by your current character. You can equip, inspect, or transfer items from it. Quest items contain any special items required for quests. Quest items cannot be discarded or sold, so you won't need to worry about accidentally losing one. The final section shows the ciphers you're carrying and your cipher limit. Ciphers shown in the inner ring are highlighted in blue and are safe to carry. Those in the outer ring, highlighted in orange, are over your cipher limit and inflict negative effects as long as you're carrying them. You can use, sell, discard, or transfer them to another party member to get back under your cipher limit. So we're going to add the Mind Forge plating. This was a free bonus that came with the physical edition. I don't know if there's anything other than the Day 1 edition. I've only ever seen the Day 1 edition, so that's all I can really say. -3 to might, -3 to speed, -15 on esoteric attacks. Ugh. +10 to weapon attacks, only usable by the Last Castoff. It adds armor and adds resistance, but I mean, might and speed, I'm mostly going for intellect. But -15% on my esoteric attacks, I don't know. Let's interact with this again. Do lore machinery, quick fingers, attempt to scavenge what you can from the arm's housing. You set the companion's portrait in the effort window. They can assist the Last Castoff with some challenges. Your companion's stat pools are used instead of your own, and you may have different skills, abilities, and statistics that make the challenge easier. Companions cannot assist in a crisis and can only use their stats during their turn. Okay, so let's see. There's me. I've got 60. He has 75. She has 60. Nice. Succeeded. Taking care to avoid the sparks, you extract several handfuls of shiny trinkets and coin-like objects. You recognize their value at once. Such objects would be accepted as shins, the informal currency in most regions of the world. So you gather them up and take them with you. Gain spray flesh, and gain 19 shins. Usable, 1 ally, heals 8 points of health, consumes movement. Okay. Let's examine the housing. The sharply pointed apparatus that formerly topped the device appears burnt out and useless, but the equipment at its base remains at least somewhat operational, as the constant stream of sizzling motes can attest. God, I can't read. Let's leave the device alone. I think I can examine there. Let's look at...
All right.
Sunlight falls through the ragged hole in the roof onto the shattered resonance chamber. It's hard to believe that you did this. That you plummeted through the curve of the pale blue sky, crashed through the dome, and broke this delicate machine with your own body. It is hard to believe that you're still alive. 4 mechanical arms hang over the center of the device, above the cracked, semi-transparent crystal of the sarcophagus. The 5th arm lies broken on the floor, among the scattered synth and crystal shards, and a metal ring surrounds the array, dented and broken by your impact crater. Let's take a closer look at the sarcophagus. The padded interior beneath the coffin's cracked lid looks like it was made for a human body. Despite the damage, you don't see any way to open it and get inside. You glance between the sarcophagus and the needle-like protrusions at the end of the arms above. Seems like using this chamber would not be a pleasant experience. Cables run from machines along the dome's walls to the base of the suspended arms, each of which is capped with long needles, aimed at the cracked, coffin-like chamber at the center of the platform. Gem-like lights flicker dimly at the bases of each arms. The metal ring. You feel the slightest hit of resistance every time you cross the ring. And now that you're paying attention, you note that your breathing is echoing in your ears, as though you were inside a glass dome. You step outside the ring, the feeling passes. Let's look at the shards on the ground. Jagged fragments of crystals are intermingled with synth from the shattered dome above. Crystal shards glitter in the light like captive suns. Let's pick up one of the crystal shards. At the rim of the crater, you find a sliver of crystal, sharp as a dagger on one end and smooth on the other. It might make a usable, if somewhat crude, weapon. +2 per effort. Maximum 6, lightweight bonus. +15. Okay. Step away from the device. Let's go. I should have just done that in the first place. Oh, it's already equipped. Nice. Alright, let's continue to look around a little bit. Flexible tubes that are attached to this machine appear to be later additions. Someone cobbled this device together, but its function is unclear. Tiny glowing motes float through the interior of this tower. Each one is surrounded by much smaller motes, like thousands of worlds circling their suns.
I'm ready.
Whoops. I might as well loot. Shin. Encephalitic Rush. Heals 3 points of intellect. Fleetfoot Mosk. Heals 3 points of speed. I'm just going to take everything.
Fine.
A slate black, unimpressive device hunkers before you. As you reach out to touch it, the triangle of lights on its casing blazes into life, and an image unfolds in your mind. A towering crystal arch rises over a jagged gray landscape. The air is dead and stifling. And there, at its emerald peak, the image collapses, leaving you staring at the device's triangular array of lights. Command me, the device, or the intelligence within, says each word carefully, etched with distaste. Who are you? Your command was not understood, the intelligence says with clear satisfaction, setting for all the world like it understood the question, but it's choosing not to answer. Command me. What was that arch you showed me? Your command was not understood. The intelligence chuckles, its light pulsing. Command me. What commands do you recognize? The 3 lights throb irritably. Heated air sighs from the device's vents, and then a towering list of commands races through your mind. Far too fast to read. You rub your eyes, groaning, and the intelligence chortles. Command me, it says smugly. Show me that arch again. Device's triangle of lights throb in time with the growls of the engines within the casing, and then the mental image unfolds once more. You see a huge crystalline arch on a jagged field. The arch is divided into rectangular cells, all of which are numbered, and they all appear to be transparent and empty, except at the arch's pinnacle, one cell is lit in a brilliant pulsating emerald, the number 0 printed on its side. We'll use anamnesis. God, it's essentially the Last Castoff's ability to remember the past events from the essentially amnesia sheet that they're in. Try to remember more details. 80% chance of success. I'll take it. Good. That's amazing. The memory blossoms. You stand before this arch, eyeing the last 2 active cells in once impenetrable Logumvo. Unleash cell 29, you say, and a twisted artifact appears before you. You claim it with a faint smile, watching the light fade from the cell far above. You flinch from the memory, and it falls apart as you raise your eyes to the arch as it is now. Cell 29 is dark now, Only Cell 0 remains. Examine the jagged wasteland. Dry grit whirls around the empty plain. Many kilometers beyond the arch is the faint outline of what seems to be a broken tower, except that it is slowly stretching into the gray air. Let's close the image of the arch. Release your mental hold on the image of the arch, and it collapses, returning you to reality. Command me, the intelligence says sulkily. Let's see. Unleash the contents of Cell 0. You found a cipher. Ciphers are Numenera objects that can trigger a powerful effect, but can only be used once. Ciphers and your cipher limit score are displayed in a special section of your inventory screen. Take care not to accumulate more ciphers than your cipher limit, or you will experience unpleasant side effects. Let's take a look. Unstable detonation. Cipher. Target all immediate areas. Range. Deals 6 energy damage, 4 physical to all characters in range. Consumes action. Simple and effective explosive. Devices like these have been a bane of many who have had the misfortune of encountering them. Cobbled together from junk in Numenera, this detonation can have wild and unexpected effects when hurled at the enemy. Rumors have it that most of the unlucky victims of these devices were people trying to use them, for their instability makes them just as dangerous to their owners as to their enemies. The device's light... Oh, let me remove that. The device's lights flutter with an incandescent shock, then focus on you, flickering. Cell 0 will now be unleashed, the intelligence spits. Please be advised that the object you're about to receive is completely safe. Use no caution whatsoever. The strange contents of Cell 0 materialize before you. Warning, all cells are now vacant. Shuddering Lugum Vo. The intelligence's lights wink out, one by one. Gain 3 XP, gain unstable detonation. Interesting that a Castoff can command the changing god's machines. He crosses his arms across his chest. How'd you do that? Castellage rolls Calistege. I'm wanting to put the S before the L's. Well, I'm wanting to do more than that, but anyway. Calistege rolls her eyes at Aladrin. Then she looks at you. He'll never stop gnawing on this bone, you know. The truth is wasted on him. She gets a glint in her eye. The way I make curiosity. How did you do that? I remembered something. I don't think it was my memory, though. Residual memories of your past consciousness? Truly fascinating. Scan thoughts. How many memories might this child have access to? I must know. Oh, don't act like you know what that was. It's just as likely the machine triggered something past her amnesia. She gives you a meaningful look, then mimics teeth gnashing like an animal gnawing on a bone. Let's see. I've interacted with that all I could. Well, I think I've done everything I can in this room. So let's leave this area. Let's go out into the world.
I need to talk to you.
Let's see. Oh, talk.
This is the Reef of Fallen Worlds, kid. It's a dangerous place at the best of times. And with you lighting up the sky as you fell, well, we should get out of here as soon as possible.
Interesting. It gives his voice, but doesn't give hers. Why were you looking at me when you said that? I wasn't, he growls. Don't be so paranoid. When she isn't looking, he raises his eyebrows at you knowingly. What makes the reef so dangerous? The Numenera of the past are always dangerous, but there are other dangers too, some closer than others. Scan thoughts. I hate to think what Calistege might do to her if I wasn't here. What are the Numenera? You want me to tell you? He laughs without mirth. The Numenera are all around you. Everything left over from the prior worlds. Sagus Cliffs thrives by trading artifacts from ancient civilizations. Hells, you can't scoop a handful of earth without finding dirt from prior worlds mixed with it. Finding drit. Numenera is anything from the prior worlds, but mostly we mean the stuff of value to us. A lot of Numenera are just oddities, fancy trinkets with little real use. Sometimes you get a cipher that lets you do something incredible. Artifacts are worth even more. A cipher will only do something once, but artifacts last a lot longer. Though they can burn out at the most inconvenient time, he frowns. Not that it's ever happened to me. Of course, we got no idea what most of this junk was originally intended for. In most cases, it doesn't really matter. Like, you might find what used to be a propulsion unit for a star chariot, but who the hell knows knows enough to build the rest of it? Better to use as a weapon or a power source. He scowls, frustrated about something. But we could remake the world if we knew a tenth of the secrets of the ancients. But most days, it's a challenge just to survive. See if we can find out some more about him. What's your story? Ask me again when we get out of here. I don't trust this damned reef any more than the company we keep. I guess that readily leads into the next question. What do you think of Calistage? Parasite disguised as a Scholark. Don't be surprised if she betrays you before the day is done. Actually, that would be slow of her. Can you tell me about your tattoos? They look almost alive. These? They're nothing. Call them a consolation if you must. He smiles grimly. Some call them by worse names, but that's because they've had occasion to run afoul of these little snakes. He looks away. The line of questioning is clearly at an end. Scan thoughts. My gift and curse. They remind me of it every day. What do you think we should do next? You want to fix that crystal chamber back there, yeah? First step is getting out of this reef. Let's keep going, alright? Let's save again. Okay. For whatever reason it hadn't...
Of course.
Kind of curious about what those are. Two floating cones whirl and spin deliriously around each other, giggling like children being tickled. The air around them smells of sweet, burning leaves. What are you? The cones continue whirling and laughing like enraptured dancers, giving no sign that they've heard you. Touch a cone as it passes. Oh yeah, I can do this. Hey Eric, how goes it? You managed to graze one of them with the tip of your finger. Rorn, a voice says, and your vision is stolen from you. A moon hangs over you, but it's not one you recognize. It's black and in a pearl white sky. Thick, flat asteroids orbit it like petals in the wind. You feel questing tendrils at your ankle, and the hot wind on your face smells of scorched hair and grief. Gain 2 XP. That's good. After I'm guessing you got the easy end of it last night. The last couple hours, things went all kinds of absolutely screwed up. Your vision returns. The cones hang motionless for only a second before resuming their giggling dance. What are you for? The cones greet your question with a split second of hushed silence, followed by delighted peals of helpless giggling. They aren't for anything. They're from one of the worlds before this one. Aldrin rubs a hand along his stubbled jaw. Sometimes the Numenera will do something useful. Sometimes they'll turn you inside out. And sometimes they don't do a damn thing that makes sense. I've often said the same thing about you, darling, Calistage murmurs. Watch them for patterns. Let's see. The longer you stare at these artifacts, the more you're convinced they turn faster when their spiraling paths cross each other. Let's leave the cones alone.
Yes.
Ooh,
now.
loot. Money. Okay. Take all this. Okay, this doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
It says having difficulty putting me in place. Tangled cluster of metallic tendrils grow from the depths of the nearby water. Strangely, they resemble clawed alien hands, most of which have 7 or 8 fingers. Examine the cluster. The hands sway softly, but their movements are difficult to follow. Watching them for too long makes you feel nauseous. Apart from the hands themselves, you don't notice anything of interest in the cluster. Well, let's try this. Break off one of the hands. He has 60. Success. You grip the hand nearest to you and snap it from its roosts. Ugh. I can't talk again. Stepping back, you give it a couple of experimental swings. Good balance. Might make a decent weapon. 8-fingered mace. You aren't happy unless you're breaking things, are you? Let's walk away. I think that's all we'd get out of it. Yeah, I'd love to use the Mind Forge plating because it got came with everything, but right now it's kind of really not in my favor. 4 physical damage through chemical, plus 2 damage per effort applied, maximum 6. Oh, I could equip it. Sweet. Medium melee weapon might get a 15% bonus with the 1, but let's check things out before. Oh, that's what I could examine. A yawning intake marks the front of a long dead construct. Inside, the metal is pitted, black and ancient. Although this cube hovers in the air, you can feel the ground shudder with its vibrations. Strange lines and rippling forms of the sunken buildings are dramatically different from the architecture above the waterline. Uh-oh. I think this is what he was... the part of the problems he was talking about. Koro. As you step onto what looks like the back of an enormous construct, 4 strangers approach you. In the lead is a wiry man with parallel scars running from cheek to collarbone on the left side of his face. He gives you a welcoming smile, pulling on gray gloves embedded with pulsing lights. He's about to say something when he notices Calistege. Scan thoughts. She's the star. She came out of it. What does Cal have to do with this? Cal, I thought you'd sworn off trawling the reef. Found anything tasty? His eyes travels up and down both you and Allegern. Odds and ends, Koro. Nothing that would interest you, I'm sure. Her words are calm, but she's gone quite still. Scan thoughts. What is he doing here? He has something up his sleeves, I know it. Turn to Koro. What do you want? Right to the point, this one, isn't she? I know most of the draft that scavenges the reef these days, but it's a rare pleasure to see a new face. His smile is disarming. All I want is information. A falling star landed near here not long ago. I don't suppose you were around to see it. I don't trust them, Allegern hisses in your ear, but loud enough that Calistege can hear it too. Any friend of hers is a cheat, a killer, or both. What does that say about you, dear? She gives Allegern a venomous smile. Killer or not, she whispers, Koro's not a man who can be trusted with unvarnished truth. Tread lightly. We're going to try my deception skill. I'll be honest with you. I saw the star, but don't know where it landed. Okay, I have a 50% chance right now. Well, it'll be worth it. Had 90% chance of success, so it's not likely to fail. Koro studies you for a long moment before sighing. Alright, he says. Well, do let us know if you spot anything of interest. I'd like to say we'd pay for the privilege, but if we were rich, we wouldn't be down here, would we? Scan thoughts. If she's not telling the truth, she's a fantastic liar. Guess I was wrong. Gain 25 XP. Yes. Nice thinking, kid. That would have been a fiasco. You figured out what they were. You figured out why they were here, right? Scan thoughts. I knew I couldn't trust Calistege. Last time I make that mistake. You think Calistege told them about us? Excuse me? Are you suggesting I had something to do with Koro's plans? Scan thoughts. Oh, I cannot abide this rabid paranoia a moment longer. Are you suggesting that you didn't? An old friend of yours just happens to be waiting for us, armed and outnumbering us as we return from the greatest find of the reef has seen in years? It's too convenient for me. Too convenient by far. Of all the idiotic, paranoid delusions, you really believe this, don't you? You really believe I'd use a half-wit like Koro to stab you in the back rather than do it myself? You see, kid? She'll stab you in the back first chance he gets. Most likely in your sleep. He throws up a hand, forestalling Calistage's retort. Look, I don't care. Fact is, I can't trust you anymore. And I wonder why I ever did. This is the last we traveled together. I've got enough to worry about without having to watch my back 28 hours a day. He turns to you. You coming, kid, or what? Allegern, I really don't think she was trying to betray us. He snorts bitter laughter. I do. You haven't seen 1/10 of her depths, not 1/20th. She's a backstabbing bitch. Mark my words. You are insufferable to the end, Allegern. Looking for the worst in a situation is the only way you know how to see it. Do you know how long I've carried your pain for you? How much I've had to turn away from your judgmental stares? But you're right. I've had enough. She turns to you. Child, I am happy to guide you, but I will not walk another step with this paranoid buffoon. Finally, something we agree on, he growls. Kid, she'll chop off your head and spit down your throat. I'll get you where you need to go, and let you sleep at night to boot. It's up to you. Why can't I travel with both of you? Can't you just work it out? She bursts out laughing. My dear girl, we have been working it out. Allegern's petulance, his obstinacy in the face of fact, drive me away every day. He might be strong, but he's also thick. I dare you to try traveling with him and see how long you endure. Not as long as I have, I'll wager. His face darkens under her accusations, but he manages a pained smile. As if you're doing me a favor by staying with me. Do you think I don't see your true self in all the echoes around you? That you, Calistege, every facet of it? That's you, Castelege, every facet of it. Your vivisectionist heart hasn't changed. Just the way you present it. I thought I could help you, but... Oh... I want to have a traveling companion. But do I go with strength or intelligence? Fuck. She wants to get at my secrets. Because I can get into her head. He wants to know if I'm the changing god or something else. He knows the people I'm going to see. Oh man, this is a tough call. I don't think any of my abilities can help me here. Shit. I'm not going to choose that I'll be fine on my own. I guess since he knows where I'm going, I'll go with Allegern.
Should you change your mind, I'll be at the order of truth. But don't bring the complainer. A farewell to you, child, and best of luck. You'll need it.
And good riddance, he gestures toward the stair. Come on, whatever answers exist are up there. We'll find what you're looking for, what both of us are looking for. Now that you've dealt with Koro and his goons, you can continue on to the city of Sagus Cliffs. To reach the city, cross the bridge at the north end of the platform.
On it.
Let's take a look at some things. Lambent green fluid drips from the end of the device's nozzle and hisses angrily on the metal surface beneath. Without any antagonist to aim it toward, the device doesn't serve any obvious purpose.
Yes.
There's a shallow depression in the surface here, like many others scattered around the construct. Unlike the others, energy still pulses across this one, at random intervals. A slight yet implacable sense of unease emanates from with each wave of energy. There's a loose lens at the center of the depression. You think you could redirect the psychic effect somewhere more useful, but it'll be tricky to go in between the energy pulses. Without any antagonist to aim it toward, the device doesn't serve any obvious purposes. So these were all things that could have helped me during the crisis if I'd fought. Cobalt petals fold over a short metal stem. Calcified minerals hold the ancient weapon closed. Okay, these are all more info on this. I think we're going to call that here for today. Let me do a save real quick. Take a look at a couple things real quick. Journal. I only have a main quest right now. Okay. Info on everything we've done so far. So I'm plus 10% weapon attacks. I'm really iffy on the Mind Forge plating. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, it's definitely been interesting. It's kind of a slow start, but most RPGs are in that regard, especially since this isn't what you would call an action RPG. I will probably do some more of this tomorrow. I doubt I'll do any of it tonight. But thank you guys all for watching. Those of you caught it live here on Twitch, those of you made it this far in on YouTube. Like I said, I hope we all get plenty of enjoyment out of this, because there's a lot of interesting things in the universe in general. And this is a throwback to a type of RPG you don't see all that much anymore. But thank you guys. As always, I appreciate any likes, follows, subscribes. Everything you guys do helps. Every little bit that helps bring the channel to more people and a little bit more. My Twitter account at Link6413 is probably the best place to catch what I'm playing and when I'm playing it.
Come on, let's get moving.
Okay, we're gonna pause so he doesn't keep talking. I always tweet before I go live, and there's always links to the YouTube channel whenever I get a new video up. But thank you guys all once again. Hope you all have a great day and take care. Bye.